Good morning, everybody. It's time for some Monday morning notes. Today's topic is mean, median, and we're going to add another one down here, mode. Okay, I'm going to stop here for a second, give you a chance to find the right page in your toolkit. This is either page 4 or page 8. So you might want to pause me, make sure you're on the right page 4 or page 8. And then when you're on that page, go ahead and start, and we'll be ready to go. Okay, mean, median, and mode. All these are different ways to find the middle of a set of data. That's a group of numbers. But there's different kinds of middle. There's the actual number in the middle, there's the calculated number in the middle, or there's the number that we see more than other numbers, which we could sort of call the middle. So those are what those three types of middle are. Sometimes also called average, but usually when we say average, we're usually talking about the mean. So we'll start with that one. Okay, the mean is a measure of the middle, which is also called the arithmetic average, you see. To find the mean, you add the values of the data set together. That's just add all the numbers together and then divide by how many numbers you had. Okay, they have a quick definition here about outliers. Outliers are numbers that are much larger or smaller than the rest of the data. So in the data set you see there as an example, see how they added them all together to add to 109 right here. There's 7 numbers in the data set, so they divided by 7, and they got their mean of 15.57. Often, because we're dividing, a mean is a decimal number. So if it's a long decimal, you could round it off, but if it's 2 decimal places, I would just leave it there. And in that data set, we might ask if 9 is an outlier, because it's kind of a lot smaller than the other numbers, but there are 2 9s there, so maybe it is, maybe it's not. Outlier is sort of an opinion thing, so it's okay. Don't worry about that. Okay, the median is another way to find the middle. The median is actually the middle number. Oops, sorry, not drawing a line through it. Highlighting it. The median is the middle number in the set of data. This is the important part. Arranged numerically. You have to put the data in order first. You can't just look at the numbers and grab the one in the middle. So if you look at the data set that they gave us here, right, those numbers are not in order. We don't count 16, 26, 21, 9, right? So they rearranged the numbers in order, and then they found that the middle number was 15. Now, how they do that? Well, one way to do that is to cross those numbers off in pairs. Those two match, those two match, those two match, and we end up with one number in the middle, 15, which was our median. Okay. There's another thing that happens with median. I'm going to do an example, and you'll see. The mode is the most frequent number, which just means the number that is there more than the other numbers, right? So if there are in our data set here, there are 2 9s in this previous data set right there, then 9 was the mode. If all the numbers are there once, then sometimes there can be no mode. And you say no mode, you don't say 0, because 0 is a value that might be in the data set. One more thing we want to talk about, which this is not a measure of the middle, but it often gets asked at the same time. What is the range of the data set? This is a super easy one. You just subtract the largest number, subtract the smallest number. It's just how far apart, right, are the numbers from the biggest to smallest. What range or span of numbers does that cover? Okay, so those are our 3 types of center plus the range, which is just a measure that we do. So we're going to do an example here with a data set. And my data set is 6, 3, 4, 6, 1, 5. That's my data. Data is just information, numbers. We don't know where these came from. It's just an example. Okay, so to find the mean, I'm going to do what it said here. Add them all together. 6 plus, and I'm going to rearrange them though, because if I go 6 plus 4, that's kind of nicer. 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 3 plus 1 plus 5. So I got them all 6 plus 3 plus 1 plus 5. Okay, I didn't put them in order, but I put them in an order that I wanted them to be in. And I'm going to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 because there's 6 numbers there. Now, the reason I put them in that order is because 6 plus 4 is 10. 6 plus 3 plus 1 is 10 plus 5 more. So that adds up to 25 divided by 6. Oh, goodness. I did not bring myself a calculator over here, so I'm going to have to do some quick thinking. Let's see. 6 goes into, I'm going to do a little side scratch work here and then erase it. 6 goes into 25 4 times. That is 24. I get a remainder of 1. Okay, I'm going to put a decimal there because I need to keep going. And so 6 goes into 10 one time. Subtract 6 there, and I get 4. And put another 0, put another 0. I'm running out of space. 6 goes into 40 6 times. And it looks like it's going to keep going, but I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to say it's 4.16. I'm going to round to 4.2. So there we go. That is how I got my mean. Now, it would have been nice to do that with a calculator. I didn't think to grab one when I sat down here. So that's fine, right? I rounded it to one decimal place. Usually that's going to be a fine way to do that. Okay, and sure, use your calculator. So that is the what we call arithmetic middle of that group of data. Okay, the next measure is the median, which, as it said in our notes here, we have to put the numbers in order numerically, meaning smallest to largest. So we had a 1, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, and a 6. So from smallest to largest, there's my numbers. Now, if I start matching these up, now I'm going to use the highlighter so I can still see them. 1 matches with 6. 3 matches with 6. 4 and 5, whoa, what happened there? Okay, there's not one number in the middle of this data set because there's an even amount of numbers. So the middle is right there between those two numbers. Sometimes that happens, and you're like, well, now what do I do? What you do, my friends, is you find the mean of those two numbers. So 4 plus 5, add them together, those two numbers that kind of were the last two right in the middle, because the median is between 4 and 5. So 4 plus 5 is 9, and then I'm going to take what's in between there. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5, and that is my median. Now you might think, well, I knew that 4.5 was between 4 and 5. Great. Sometimes those numbers are what we call sequential, meaning in a row. So if it was 14 and 35, you might not know that off the top of your head. You do the same thing. Add them together and divide by 2, and that'll give you the median. All right, the mode is just simply the number that's there most often, and I can get that by looking at my data set, right? There's 2 6s, so I know that the mode is 6. Oh, well, that was easy. Okay, and then the range. The range is not a measure of the middle. It's just the spread of the set of data. I take the largest number, which was 6, subtract the smallest number, which was 1, and I get a range of 5. That means that data set covers a span of 5 numbers. Okay, that is our mean, median, mode measures of the center of data, right? 3 different ways to do that, plus range because it shows up here. Okay, make sure you got it all written down.